Hello everyone, this is Serious Trivia. Welcome back to another Group B matchup between Zero and Jedicars. Now, while Jedicars is still looking for his first win, Zero is playing his last game and for his tournament life, as after his loss against Peanuts, he can't afford to lose any more games if he wants a shot at top 8. So let's see how this one plays out. And looking at the comps, we can see that Zero once again is going 4 for 4 with themed teams. This one with the yellow turban theme of the three Zhang brothers, Zhang Jiao, Zhang Liang, and Zhang Bao. And we have a good mix of unit as well, including some of those only quarter unit size unbreakable axemen, and a bunch of cavalry to support that, a couple of spear units on top. Not that many unique unit. We don't really have Yaoguai Hunters, for example. There's also the Jazz Riders, which has a weird unit count as well, 16. It's all over the place with yellow turbans, double count of messengers, and a weird ratio for other units here. Now for Jedicars, he is bringing back his same comp. It's still focused around Fury of Beihai. They're still ranked up to level 10. We have Xiliang Cavalry for Lu Bu, ranked up to 5. And one Archer Militia to provide a little bit of that fire damage, which I don't think is needed, given that Jedicars is probably gonna guerrilla deploy to the other side just to get a good clearing for his Fury of Beihai. So there's not much to burn, but there could still be a little bit morale damage from the fire hitting your unit, but having a fire nearby with the trees is just a better effect. Then Ventral rounds out the comp with 4 units of the Yan Vanguard Spearmen. And it's going to be interesting to see how this matchup. Overall, I think the lack of frontline is solved a little with the Ye Vanguard Spearmen, but a lot of this has to be range domination over the infantry, because if Zero's infantry make contact, they are far better, and the cavalry is also skewed towards Zero. He has 9 units of cavalry, with 4 of them being double unit size, 3 of them being around half. And on Jedicars' side, there's only 2 units to respond to that, so the generals will have to do a bit of the heavy lifting. Overall, it's going to be very interesting. Let's see how this one played out. And taking a look at deployment, no surprises here. As you can see, Jedicars has deployed right up to the other side. He picked the right flank. This is a lot of luck. There's actually a lot of coincidences. For example, when Zero picked his Han Empire comp and K9 picked his Yellow Turban comp, both sides did the theme battle without communicating to each other, so that was just pure coincidence. And this one also, you can see that Zero has put his comp on the right side of his deployment zone, which puts him right up to where Jedicars decided to deploy. You can't see the other person's deployment, so this is also by chance. There's going to be one day when both sides, guerrilla deploy on top of each other in the middle of the map, and that would be a hilarious day, but right now it's not that day. We have a close setup here. Messengers being on this side is fine, given that Furies, although very high in damage, there's at least a 50% missile resistance on these melee calves. That's also going to apply to the Jazz Riders, or Raiders, Jazz Raiders. The other units have to flip around, maybe even just try to go for the forest here and flank from the left. A couple cavalry units here, generals are together, that part is really good, solid front lining. It might be good for the Ye Vanguard Spearmen to go into square. It would minimize the melee impact as well, because they lose the melee matchup against the Bringers of Peace, for sure. The Axe unit will break shields, and it will be a pretty bad matchup. So maybe going to square and delaying that might be even better, but we'll see how this one plays out. Benjo has his bow. Let's see. That splash still killed a decent amount. Furies are insane. Yeah, killed about 9 units there. Lu Bu didn't get his gaze down. It's not his fault. You do have to be in melee to activate it, so he just didn't touch any of the units. Let's see how Zero deal with these, because they hurt. The Tyrant Slayers are a very bad matchup given their shot cavalry. If they do get hit, they could lose quite a bit here. They don't have any range block chance here, so this is also dangerous. This is the edge of the range. You can see the arrows splashing over just because they were shot at before they moved over. Alright, bump into a trap here. Messengers aren't really going to be scared here, but they do get a clean charge off. That is very good. See how they respawn. They're getting pulled back. I think part of the reason is you just don't know how many units are ambushed here, so you can't really decisively attack them in case you're heavily outnumbered. Getting picked off now, have to move back. Maintaining this max range is going to be key. I think instead of being stationary, they should move up a little, get the shots in, and then move back afterwards. But it seems like Jedicars is just going to hold his position, which, you know, gives your opponent sort of all the initiative here. Are they trying to kite out the shots by getting into range and then moving back? No, he's still testing out where the range is. Oh, they're just going to go for it. Oh, that is going to hurt. That is going to hurt a lot. The one advantage is, since they're unbreakable, even when they're down to like 2 units, all this ammo is going to be still shooting at 1 unit, trying to kill that. Ooh, the stall, that is good. A little bit of manual target switching would be better, just to weaken all the units, because right now you're getting less and less efficiency shooting at the same guy, because, you know, you're not gonna hit them. The flank has arrived, both sides. The cavalry, you know, outnumbered here. Not being in square limits the angle of the shooting a lot more, and they're able to slip through without much issue. They're gonna crush the cavalry first, not gonna distract the fury. I guess they'll take the damage at this point. The generals have not done too much. Being unbreakable, definitely a big factor here. They're hunting Lu Bu here. Kong providing support, so that's good. Fighting together is definitely what we want to see. The roar for the morale. Most of the units are unbreakable or very high morale. The couple of fervent defenders are not, but they will bounce back. I don't see any dismounting yet except for Kong and Lu Bu. So Jedicars did dismount and got tricked. So pretended to fight. Oh, this is slick by Zero. Pretended to fight the general versus general fight, got the 3 generals to dismount, and then went straight for the Furies. They can't catch up. But it's still very costly advance. The Furies of Beihai got decent damage down, but now they're tangled up in melee. And they're just gonna swap from one range target to another as they're getting chased. Another roar on the generals. Not gonna do much. The generals are all very high morale or unbreakable. Ability usage, I think it did hit Zhang Liang there, but still fine. Seems like all the Furies are getting wiped now. And the cavalry's doing a number on Kong Rong's health. Slowly. He's going after all the units first. He's going to army loss the general except for Lu Bu. I think that's the strategy. You wipe out all the unit, then Wen Chuo and Kong Rong will army loss, and then Lu Bu's only thing unbreakable, and then you fight him afterwards. So you avoid the general fight entirely. Trying to get the roars off. Unfortunately, Yellow Turban units are just very hard to demoralize. We see the mass dismount. Starting to lose health. Army loss kicked in as well. Minus 90 for the army loss. All the units are routed, so it's just Lu Bu versus the 3 Zhang brothers. They one-shot him? Wow. Well, he was low, but they got some good hits in. That was a very nifty fight. There were some losses on the approach, but because of the unbreakable units, they were fine. And the trickery with the generals mangled together, waiting for the enemy to dismount, and then going straight for the range units afterward. That was a very nice play. And then just decisively going after the units instead of the generals, since 2 of them are not unbreakable, getting them to army loss, and then going after the remaining unbreakable Lu Bu. Very, very well played. And very fast game too. That one lasted 5 minutes and 7 seconds. You can see these Furies with the shots early on. The kill count isn't that high because they were shooting at units that were only 30 unit per group, but they were unbreakable. So that's a pretty interesting way to kind of counter this. Obviously, it's not intentional. Both sides were blind picked. The Vanguard Spearmen, not really able to do too much. You can see the melee cav mainly survived on the Old Turban side. The Tyrant Slayers, they got murdered because they just can't withstand the range damage, and they were not able to do anything. But the remaining melee cav did quite a number. You can see some of the Messenger Heaven still had over 30 units remaining, and that basically means they still have more than a standard cavalry amount. They have more than enough to shred through those infantry, and the generals kind of, tricked each other into dismounting and then went ahead and wiped out all the units. That was a very smart play, and that would do it. Jedicars is 0-3, still have a chance. Zero now finished his group stage with a 3-1 record, and his time is around 37 minutes. It's not a very good time. If we remember from Group A, Will Be Deed is around 26 minutes, and Shogun Met is around 41 minutes. Of course, Zero can actually still win the group, but it's no longer in his control, because the player he lost to, Peanut, still has his 2 matches. If he loses both of them, he would actually end up 2-2, and K9 can end up 3-1, but Zero would have the head-to-head record over K9, and that would actually make the time irrelevant, and Zero would end up as first in the group. So that last match and the match before, where we'll see Peanut in action and also K9 in action, is going to matter quite a lot for Zero, and we'll see how things play out. So until then, bye!